All right, all right. We are live. We are live. We are live. Oh, yeah. Good evening. If you are watching this live, hello to everybody on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. What's going on? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you see this or when you see this. I am super duper excited about this conversation we're about to have tonight. We are talking about three mistakes. I would probably say the top three mistakes keeping your online business from scaling and how to fix them, because I can't just leave you with the problem. I'm going to also share the solution with you. Now, maybe somebody shared this video, maybe you stumbled upon it, maybe the algorithm was really algorithming and working for your girl. And so maybe you're brand new to me. So let me exercise some good home training and introduce myself. My name is Tiffany Bethia. I'm a digital brand strategist. And for the past 15 years plus, I've had the joy of helping amazing men and women, coaches, authors, speakers, service providers, and business owners build iconic online brands, turning their expertise into massive impact and incredible income. And we've done that through coaching and courses and programs. And my specialty is showing you how to get paid for what you know and what you love to do. And so I'm excited, y'all, about this conversation. I would say if you are a coach, who's this conversation for? Let's go ahead and dial into this, okay? Let me call you out to the front of the room. First of all, let me just get this out the way. This is such a small thing, but it's not, because I talk with my hands. I got a broken nail, y'all, and you might see it, and it'll just be a distraction if I don't call it out. All right. So we got that going. Okay. Now that's out the way. All right. So this conversation is for the coach, the author, the speaker, the real estate agent, someone who is building an online business. And even if you have a brick and mortar, but you have an online component to your business, then this conversation is going to matter for you, because when it comes to building that online element or component, you need these three tips that I'm going to give you. Now, let's just set the table for a little bit. I'm gonna take my time. This is not gonna be super duper long, but I do want to take my time with this. Okay. Because why does this conversation matter? Number one, we are in a time and a space. Hey, Michael, what's going on? One of my kingdom bosses in the building. We are in a time and space where our economy, especially for those of you who are watching here in the United States, we are going through our economy is in a very interesting place. And so even if you are gainfully employed, but have a business on the side as additional income, this is a time to really get serious about building that stream of income. Okay. Over 300,000 Black women in America have exited the workforce since February. That number is startling. And it reminds me of COVID. It reminds me of when, 5 years ago, I feel like we had this moment again where we realized how fickle maybe even just one stream of income was. And it was a moment where we realized that, oh, this is what God meant in Ecclesiastes 11:2, where he said to give a portion to 6 or 7, that I can't just have one stream of income. And so why do I say that? Even if this is for your business on the side, this is an hour where this really matters. I was talking to a new client who is real estate, and I'm helping them to build their online brand, to get more leads, and to literally scale their business. And I said to them, tell me a little bit about why this matters. This was a him. I do work with men too, y'all. Okay, this was a man. And he said to me, I want to retire my wife. I'm tired of her driving into work. We had talked about his income goals and set a clear path for how much am I helping you get to. And I said, I want to understand what's the why for this income goal. And when he said that, I said, I got you. It's urgent. And that's why am I saying that? Because you're going to hear me talk a lot about scaling and growing and all of that. But I want to make sure that it's really clear that this is not just about the money. This is about the freedom and the options for what that money will buy for you. I love having an online business. I love the flexibility, and I love the fact that when I need to make more or increase, I know exactly what to do. I know what to press and what to drip to increase my income. Okay. And so literally last week, I sold over $10,000 worth of coaching and consulting, y'all, and it wasn't random. I had very specific steps that I knew when I do this, it will equate to this. And the freedom and the control that gives is something that no one can take away. Now, you can tell I'm a coach because what I just did was I told you why this matters before we get to the how. Okay? Because if you don't have a strong enough why, it's not even going to matter. But when your why is big enough and you recognize, I did a training last night. This was not one that I shared publicly. I only shared it with my email list. And we were on Zoom last night, and sorry y'all, I just got a call coming in. But we were on Zoom last night, and I was talking to some of the business owners, and we were just talking about their marketing and where they're struggling. And they were just saying to me like, oh my good, sharing, what's happening. And we were able to really get down to what happens if that doesn't change, and what are the options that become available when you really put the work in to change your life. And that's what I was going to say. Thank you, Holy Spirit. My phone is ringing. I'm trying to stay focused. What came up was, what happens when you can finally remove the I can't afford it. One of the beautiful things about an online business is and this is not to sound like, this is just what it is. It creates an ATM where you get to decide, how much would I like to make and what do I need to do to make that possible? That's the beauty of having an online business. And so whether you sell courses or you have a coaching program, you host an online event or something in that regard, right? So, all right, we've set the table. So what are the top 3 mistakes that are keeping your online business from scaling? Okay. If I was you, I would actually get out something to write. Okay. Because I'm going to give you a little bit of game. I'm going to give you some game right here. Okay. The first one is not using magnetic messaging. Not using magnetic messaging. Here's what happens. Here's what I see. I've been doing this work for 19 years, which feels crazy when I say it, but girl, that's the truth. A lot of times we use words and phrases to describe what we do, and those words and phrases don't necessarily resonate with the people who we want to actually buy our products and services. So we describe them in a way and we say, hey, here. And then people don't necessarily respond. Then we're like, what happened? Well, when someone like me is able to come take a look at your marketing, what I often see is that, oh, these are not the words and phrases that make them go, ooh, I'm interested in that. Now, if you've been around for a while, you've heard me talk about this, but this is a tried and true concept that we got to talk about when we talk about magnetic messaging. Somebody put messaging in the chat. Messaging is key. There is a when you talk about creating magnetic messaging, there is a concept I call vitamins versus pain medicine. I want y'all to know right now, I'm giving y'all stuff that people pay me thousands of dollars for. Okay, this is not the watered down version. I'm giving you the game. Okay, real talk. Something I talk often with my clients about. I literally had a conversation with a client about this yesterday. We were talking about vitamins versus pain medicine. Well, what are you talking about, Tiffany? Well, if I'm in a room and I ask them, if I'm speaking from a stage and there's 100 people and I say, how many of you take vitamins every single day? You'll get a few hands, right? Every time I tell this story, I'm on the wrong side of it. One day that's going to change because I don't even take a vitamin every day, even though I have them here, which proves the point. But if I say, how many of you take pain medicine every time you have excruciating pain, every hand goes up. And the lesson that we learn from that is we are motivated into action because of our pain. I know. Why are we like that, right? Why are we like that? But that's how we're wired. So here's what happens. A lot of time, yeah, thank you, Jam. Listen, here's what I noticed. A lot of times when people are creating their marketing messaging, you are giving people the vitamins, and they might be like, oh, that's nice, but it may not be enough to make them pull out their card and buy. When you speak to their pain and give them solution and medicine for their pain, that's the language that becomes magnetic. That's when you see people saying, oh, okay, wait a minute. Nah, okay, no, I need to actually pull out my card. Now I am motivated to work with you. And so let me give you a real example. Okay, let me give you a real example. Because of what I do, when people come to me and work with me, essentially their bottom line, like, I want to make more money in this business. It's doing well. It's time for me to add a zero. It's time for me to scale it up. I want to reach more people. I want to make more sales. And typically the pain point associated with that is I've invested a lot of money in this business. I want to see a bigger return. I can't stay at this income level, right? When they come to me, what they need is a systematic branding and marketing system. But that doesn't really sound sexy. You didn't care about that when I said that just now, did you? You're like, no. So you don't hear me out here often marketing like, do you need a branding and marketing system? Because no, I don't care about that. What you will often hear me talking about is, do you need a way to reach more people and make more money with ease? Right? And I specifically say with ease because of what I do. It adds that automation piece where, like, yes, you're making sales not just actively but also passively. Oh yeah. Now I'm interested in that. You gonna show me how to make more money, how to reach more people and do it with ease? Yes, I am interested in that. And so all of that is to say, you've got to be able to differentiate what is your vitamin messaging and what's your pain medicine messaging. What are the words and phrases that when you use them, people move, they're instantly moved into action? I know for me, some of those words are profit, scale, grow, increase, revenue, cash, make money, impact, right? That's what my person is looking for. Okay. They're like, I didn't start this business just to be a hobby. I'm really out here trying to get to the bag. Okay. And I need somebody to show me how to add. Maybe I got one, but I need to add another bag to this bag I already got. Okay. And so, and there are so many different ways. I would say the simplest way though of learning. Well, Tiffany, how do I learn the words and phrases that my audience is most interested in? This is going to sound so groundbreaking. Okay. You ready? Talk to them. Ask them. Now, that's the real marketer coming out. Oftentimes, we are making decisions in our business. I had a conversation with the CEO of another company today, and we're collaborating and partnering. And he was just asking me, like, what are some of my goals? What am I working on? And I was sharing with him that ultimately, in this phase of growth for this particular business, that I'm talking to the people. I'm having a lot of conversations with them because I'm creating something, and I don't want to create it just based on what I think. I'm actually asking them, what do you think? What do you need? How does this resonate with you? And so, if there are people in your target audience, whether they're clients, people that are already working with you, or just people that you know, ask them, poll them, have them do a survey, or just show them some things that you're creating and ask them, does this resonate with you? Would you actually read this, or would you just scroll by it like, it doesn't matter? Okay. So, that's the first mistake, is not having magnetic messaging. And the way to fix that is to use language, right, that resonates with your audience. And you get the, thank you. The Holy Spirit is always, write this down. Okay. Get ready to write this down because it's going to simplify everything I just said. I wish I had said it first. One thing I learned was pull your messaging from your market and not from your mind. I'm going to say that again. Okay. For the smart people taking notes, pull your messaging from your market and not from your mind. When you look at my sales pages or any type of marketing language that I craft, and you wonder like, oh, where did you get that words? Well, number one, no, it wasn't from ChatGPT. It was from, and two, it wasn't just my mind. I didn't just make it up and say like, ooh, I think this will sound good. The power questions and words and phrases that I constantly use in my marketing, my audience gave that to me. They told me that in conversation and in sessions and on calls that this is what they were struggling with. True story, true example of this. Back in 2020, I noticed that a lot of the clients I was signing kept saying, I just feel like I'm all over the place. I just feel like I'm all over the place. And I started dialing in. Maybe people said it before, but I heard it a different way. And so I started putting that all over my marketing messaging. It would say something like, who is this webinar for? This is for the person who just feels they're all over the place. And people would get on calls with me and be like, when I read that, I just knew you were talking to me. Well, you know where I got that from? My audience. I didn't make it up. I didn't pull it out of nowhere. And I got to add this as balance, and then we're going to go to the second thing. But this is why you've got to be careful of just like, now we've got all this AI using ChatGPT. That's wonderful, but you've got to be able to tell Chat, these are the words, these are the phrases that resonate with my audience. Use this. If you don't give it that instruction, it may give you something that sounds clever, but it still might go over the head and just really not prick the heart of the people that you're looking to attract. I was not supposed to be on point one this long, so we're going to speed up and catch our way. Okay. But so first we talked about not creating magnetic messaging. We're going to fix that by pulling our messaging from our market and not our mind. Okay. The second mistake that could be keeping your online business from scaling is having too many offers. I know. Don't I can see the number, okay? Don't log off right there. I learned something from one of my coaches, two of my coaches who have multi-million dollar businesses. I've learned in this game that when somebody's further ahead than me, you know what? I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna if you say it, I'm gonna be like, okay, it may not feel good, but I'm gonna just rock with it. Okay. And let me do this really quickly because I can see the comments and I know some of y'all are like, oh my goodness. Okay. And I'm gonna put this here for those of you who are like, well, we need to continue this conversation after this live stream. Okay. So having too many offers. What did I learn from my first multi-million dollar coaches? It's something called the power of one. One niche target audience, one magnetic message, one signature offer. So when I work with clients on building what I call their iconic brand, building this online brand that's iconic, that's unforgettable, that makes massive impact and the bank account matches it, we deal with, this is the process I walk them through. First, we're going to pick your one niche target audience. Then we're going to craft together your one magnetic message. But third, we're going to create one signature offer. Some of you have too many ways that people can work with you and they're confused. They're not sure whether I should do this or that or the third. And because you have so many things that you offer, it's making it harder for you to dial into a clear marketing process. One of my clients, what we've been working on has literally been cleaning up what I call her offer suite, because she's got a million programs and courses and there's so much overlap and it's really hard to market them all. And so we've been trimming back the fat, which is, I would say, not, it can be hard, but she's very open to change. And so it's not a difficult process. Thank you. She's very open to change. So it's working well, right? She's already built a six-figure business. So she like, you know what? Let me not fight this process. I get it. We got to trim back the fat. And so we've been merging and saying, okay, you can, here's what I will say. I think you can get to a place where you have a couple different offers, but there's still one way that people primarily buy from you. And then maybe after they're finished with that, there's another program that they can go into or something else that's complementary. Sometimes I even call them alumni programs, where here's the main program that I do with you. I'm gonna give you an example of this, okay? One of the programs that I am a guest coach in, shout out to, called Women, okay? We have a certification program for Christian life coaches. It's called CCI, okay? That's our signature offer. Now, on the back end of that, once someone gets certified, we realize that, oh, just because you're certified doesn't mean you know how to build a coaching business. And we didn't want to leave them hanging. So we created an alumni offer only for the people who come out of CCI to teach them how to actually grow the business. But because it's just the alumni offer, it's not confusing to try to like get people in a bunch of different programs. No, all we're really front-facing marketing is the one certification program. Okay. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at, how can people work with you? What are you selling? What are you selling? And if someone is brand new and it's not you, is it clear what you want them to purchase? what you want them to focus on. Is there one pathway into becoming a client with you, or are there multiple doors? I want you to actually picture, actually, who I'm trying to remember. I heard this said, and I can't remember who said it very recently. They said, if my house had like 7 doors around it, I wouldn't know which door to go into. It has a clear front door. And so that's the door that I know to go into. Some of you have so many doors around the house of your business that people are confused. And we have a saying in the industry, confused minds don't buy. And here's what I will say. If you've already got multiple things, one of the things that I find that works is the positioning of those things, where instead of it just being like, here, pick from it, you know what they need first, maybe what they might need next. And so you introduce them to a pathway where you say, okay, first, you need to take this course. And then at the end of this course, if you still need some support, then maybe, right? So you can look at, and then sometimes you can even merge those things together. And this is something that my client is doing now. If you've got like a course here and a book there and a that there and a that there, sometimes you can even combine those things, make them bonuses, make them extras for your signature program. I feel led in my spirit to say this right here. Some of you are working too hard. One of the clients that I'm working with, I told her, as I looked at her marketing structure and infrastructure, I said, the $1 million companies I work with aren't doing all this. You are literally doing the most, when every multi-million dollar company I work with has a very simple, focused process, and it's not a whole lot and a whole bunch. And so some of you may need to trim back the fat. You sell too much. Ironically, which means you don't sell enough, because people are so like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to buy. So they don't buy that much, right? So how do you fix it? Focus on one signature offer. And here is something that would be helpful. If you've already been selling and you have some data that you can look at, this is a data-driven decision. What sells the best? What sells with the most ease? Where do you have the most credibility? Ooh, I got tripped up on that one, huh? Credibility? Hey, y'all, I've been coaching, teaching all day. Where do you have the most credibility? What can scale the quickest? What can move the fastest? What has the most traction? And then I would say, what would it look like if you double all of your energy and effort into that one thing? Okay. So that's mistake number 2. Somebody just put trim the fat in the comments. Okay. We're doing too much. And the too much is equaling too little. Okay. So just a recap, the first mistake we talked about was not having magnetic messaging. You are not using words that are drawing people in. You're using words that make people just go, oh, okay, yep, right? It doesn't feel like you are talking to them. Hey, y'all, that's my mama. Hey. Okay. So magnetic messaging, right? That was the first one, where we are pulling our messaging from our market, not our mind. We're not just making up the words we think they like. We're actually hearing from them what they are constantly saying, and we're feeding it back to them. Okay. The second thing that we're doing is we're focused on one signature offer. Now, all my creatives are like struggling with me right now. But if we look at the data, you will see that having one focus offer, one signature offer, will get you much further than just having a bunch of different stuff. And if you've really taken a lot of time to create, maybe you've got content for days, videos, and worksheets and all these things, I would really consider how can you combine them. That's what some of you may need to do, so it doesn't feel like, well, what am I supposed to do with all of this stuff I've created? How can you combine it and make it a more meaningful program? All right. And then here is the last mistake keeping your online business from scaling. Okay. Are you ready? I should say, are y'all ready? Say ready. Put ready in the comments if you're ready for number 3. All right. And it's funny because we were talking about this last night on the training I did with the people on my email list. Whew. The third mistake is living in the land of referrals and not having a funnel or a customer journey that delivers you consistent leads. This was so interesting to me because I've literally been teaching this content now for like 10 years. So for me, it's so repetitive. Like there's little updates. It's mostly technology related, but the base of it is what it is, right? And so last night I'm on the call with them and I said to them, referrals are great, but you cannot scale a business on referrals. And one person literally like gasped, like, she was like, really? I thought referrals were great. I said they are good. It's just that if that is your main or primary source of leads, your business is going to do this because you have no control over people giving you referrals. And she was like, you know what? It was like groundbreaking. Like she really hadn't heard that before. And I said, I wonder, do people realize that referrals are great to start out, but as soon as you can, you've got to get out of referral land. You literally cannot grow and scale when the main way that people find you is referrals. You've got to have a funnel, a marketing system. Watch this, where you do 3 things: attract new people who have never heard of you, nurture them, and then at the appropriate time, convert them into clients. That's, if you've ever wondered, who has wondered what is a funnel? Go just put that in the comments, because I feel like the digital marketing community, I would like to apologize on behalf of the digital marketing community. I feel like we have made it so much more confusing. And I think that people have done that on purpose to just try to sell stuff. And I'm not a fan of it because I think that you should know what it is. It's really not that difficult. I like to use the word customer journey because it feels more organic to what it really is. It's really this systematic process of attracting new people, nurturing them, building relationship with them, and converting them into sales. Now, I gotta drop a little statistic right here that's gonna really drive this point home. Okay. We're talking about coaches, authors, speakers, service providers. Okay. So this does not apply to tangible products. But for those of you who sell services, okay, or intangible, okay, get ready for this. 80% of sales happen between the 5th and 12th interaction. Yes. Tap your neighbor and say, somebody might need to hear from you between 5 to 12 times before they're even ready to consider buying. Now, do you feel like that's a lot? Because when I first heard that statistic many moons ago, I felt like that was a lot. I said, that's a lot. I didn't think it was that. Somebody's got to hear from me that many times. And depending on your industry, the price point, I've worked with many like marriage coaches over the year. That's a really high level of trust. That number could be even higher. If you work with people and their money, many different things, that number can actually be higher. If you have a high ticket offer that might be, 5,000 or even beyond, that number is higher, And so Well, Tiffany, how am I supposed to get in front of someone that many times? Well, I'm glad you asked. That is where the customer journey plays the role. Because here's what happens. I would dare say, in my almost 20 years doing this, that most people are pretty decent at attraction. You'll post, you'll share, you'll tell people that you have a business. The nurture is where it's like the hole in the bridge, is where it gets lost. The nurture is email marketing, sending out newsletters, sending out emails. If you on my email list, we here. We go together. Because you get emails from me all the time. And I've gotten to the place where I have my email list segmented based on behavior. So people who are consuming more of my content, who have downloaded my ebook, who are watching trainings, who are joining me for webinars and really showing that they're interested, they get content that everybody else. I literally had an email go out today that I only sent to one portion of my email list based on behavior, that these are the people who are really interested. And y'all, what I'm telling you right now, it's like, this isn't necessarily the sexy stuff, but this is the stuff that literally makes your business an ATM, where you can go, okay, boom, 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 there we go. Okay. And so that nurture piece, another place of nurture is also social media. There are people watching me right now who have heard of me from somewhere. This is not their first time watching me. And you're like, okay, I'm learning from her. Not quite like ready to buy, but I'm learning. We're building our relationship. Then there's another group of people. One of them was on the call last night that I had, who's like, child, I've been watching you. I know I need you. Here, let's just do this. Okay. And so there are people all along your customer journey. But as you are consistently sharing content, you are moving them along that journey. People are learning from you. You're teaching them, and this is why, this is when I keep saying you're teaching them. Understand that if you're a coach, an author, a speaker, a service provider, your audience needs to be educated into their need for you. Oh, I haven't said that in a while. Let me say that again. The people who need what you have, it would seem obvious, but it isn't. One of the things that really makes me tickle these days is I will have someone who I'm looking at their website, and maybe I'm doing a website audit, or maybe, maybe I'm doing a brand audit, and I look at their website and I'm like, ooh, okay, this thing needs some work. And they know. They're like, yeah, actually, let me back up. What often happens is people will book a call with me, and I'll say to them, let's pull up your website. And before I can even type it in, they start apologizing. They start going, okay, well, wait a minute, because, which tells me that they know that this website is not right. But what happens is they don't know the full ramifications of that until I break it down for them. When I begin to pull things apart and say, oh, this shouldn't be here, or you should have this kind of messaging here, or you need to have a lead magnet here, this is costing you money, this is what's happening because of that, then they're like, oh my God, can you help me fix it? They knew it was jacked up before they got on the call with me. That's why they was like, oh Lord. But through my education, I help them uncover why this is a bigger issue than they realize. And the same is true for you. They are problem aware. They know it's a thing, but it's as you teach them and educate them that they realize, wait a minute, oh, I really need to fix them. And what we know, what the data shows, is when you are the person that can help uncover that for them, their affinity is much more likely to you to say, well, can you be the person that helps me? One of the things that I do is a brand audit. I'll do a brand audit where I will look at I will pull up digital assets. I'll look at your website and I'll tell you all of the gaps, the holes, and things that will help you make more money. I look at your social media. I take a look at all the things. You know what happens? At the end of me doing that, they go, oh my God, can you help me fix it? Like, don't leave me here with a problem. Can you help me fix it? And so the same is true for you. Using your content to expose your audience to, like, hey, here's what's happening. And they're like, oh God, can you help me fix it? Okay. And so let's recap this. The 3 mistakes and how to fix it. Number 1, not having magnetic messaging. Your words need to be the hook for the people who you want to sell to. I often tell my clients, if you were building your business just for you and you were the only person that needed to buy from you, this will be a different conversation. But since you want other people to buy, we have to build for them, which means I may use words and phrases that don't tickle me as much, but my audience seems to really draw and resonate. Well, this is about them, not me. So I pull my messaging from my market and not my mind. The second mistake we talked about was not having a signature offer. Some of you have too many products. An investor might say too many SKUs, right? You sell too many things. And which is why you haven't been able to dial into a simplified process. You need to trim back the fat and really focus on one signature offer. And then the third mistake that we just wrapped with was not having a systematic process, a funnel or a customer journey that attracts new people, nurtures them, and converts them into clients and customers. This is the part, that third mistake is the part where you talk about making sales with ease. One of the things that my typical client typically falls in one of 3 places. The first one is their income is like this. It's just up and down, up and down, up and down. It's not consistent. The second person says, it's consistent, but it's consistent here, and I really want it to be consistent here. The third person that comes to me is the person that says, it's consistent here, but I know I'm working too hard. I'm exhausted, and it's got to be a better way, and it is, right? We're able to simplify and automate. And that third part, when you build a funnel, when you build a systematic process to attract, nurture, and convert leads daily, this is the part where we say, okay, now I'm starting to make money with ease. Like, this wasn't even difficult. I did the webinar, I did this, and I built these things and I let them run on autoplay. And I looked up and I said, okay. And so I'm going to close here, guys. You see it, well, you can't see this on Instagram, but if you're watching this on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you can see at the bottom that I put a link there. If you would like to continue this conversation, I have opened up a couple of spaces in my iconic brand private coaching. And if you're like, you kind of caught me out a little bit on one of those mistakes. I think that it's me. I'm not using magnetic messaging, or I might have too many offers in my offer suite. I'm not really sure what I should be selling, or I do not have a funnel. I do not have a systematic process. I am the person who is pretty much referrals, right? And word of mouth. Then let's have a conversation. Let's talk about how we can utilize my iconic brand method to scale your business and simplify it, make it with ease. Okay. Because listen, as a single mama with a teenage son, I believe in, like, we can do great things without overwhelm and without stress. All right. So I hope that this conversation has been helpful for you. Share this with someone who has an online business, maybe who is thinking about starting an online business and who can get the right tips from the beginning. And if you love to talk, simply go to tiffanybathia.com. You'll see the banner at the top where you can click and you can apply to have a conversation with me. And I will talk with you guys again soon. Bye-bye.